You are listening to Terminal City Tales at CFRO 100.5 FM, Vancouver Co-op Radio. Terminal City Tales is a program that brings you stories told by people like you. Today's show is Seeing Them for What They Are. You will hear stories from Akiko Hara, Gunargie OSullivan, Cory Thibert, and France Perras. Our first story is from Akiko Hara.
It has been 21 years since I left Japan to live in Canada. Every time I go back to Japan to see my family, there is one moment I dread. That is a moment when I part from my mother. In the train station where we say goodbye, my mother always cries. Seeing her tears, my chest tightens and my sinuses ache. But I don't cry, because if I did, it would make the parting even harder for my mother. So I smile instead, as if saying, "I'll be okay, Mom. So will you." Once I'm on the train, when I'm safely alone, I finally let my eyes well up, and the tears won't stop. I'm so sad to leave my mother, knowing that I won't be seeing her again for another year or two. And this sadness is mixed with an overwhelming sense of gratitude. I'm so grateful to be a daughter of this woman, who has always shown her love for me through action. In all my life, I don't think I've ever heard my mother actually say she loved me. But I just knew she did, and she knew I knew. But my mother would not know the true reason for my tears. In her mind, at least in that parting moment, I'm still a helpless child who is going to be alone again in Canada. Alone meaning being without a family. She feels sorry for me. She's sad that she can't take care of me in Canada while she's in Japan. As well, she's kind of homebound because of my father's compromised health. If I cried in that train station, she would feel even sorrier for me. This is why I can't cry in front of her. In my recent visits to my family in Japan, however, something unexpected happened. My parents still live in the same village I grew up in. Unlike in Vancouver, there aren't many things to do in that little village. And my parents live quite simply. They don't even know what Wi-Fi is. But they sure watch a lot of TV. As in my past visits, I was committed to spending as much time with my parents as I could while I was there. So, during my stay, I sat on the couch, squished between my parents, and watched their favorite TV shows, one after another. I helped my mother in her vegetable garden. I cooked with her in her kitchen. I sewed with her in her sewing room, while catching up with 2 years' worth of the village gossip. I even played my father's ultimate passion, Sudoku, with him. And together, we went to Sampo, that restaurant, on Tuesdays, the same restaurant they have gone to every Tuesday for the last 15 years or so. It was a few days before the end of my stay. My mother and I were in the kitchen, she cleaning the taro potatoes in the sink, and I picking edamame from the stalks that we just harvested from the garden. I could hear my father snoring on the couch, with the TV still on. While washing the taro potatoes, my mother said to me, "I have to let you go back again. All alone in Canada. I used to feel so sorry for you." Oh. I caught that she said, "Used to." My mother continued, with a smile on her face, But now I wonder if you are actually looking forward to going back to Canada. What? I was taken aback. Does she finally know that I'm okay? More than okay in Vancouver? I replied to her with honesty. I will be sad to say goodbye to you after spending these weeks together. But yes, back in Vancouver, there are many things that I look forward to. You know that I have a life that I enjoy, and a career I love, and I have friends who have become my family. The day of my departure came. Once again, my parents and I are in the same train station. We are there 20 minutes early. We sit on the bench just outside the ticket gate and chat casually. There are hardly any people in that local train station. We talk about how the interior of the station has changed over time. 10 minutes before the departure time, I finally say, "I better go now." I smile and look straight into my mother's eyes, which are also smiling. I see no tears in her eyes. First time in the last 21 years. I say to her, "Genki de ne? Be well." And she says to me, "Namo ne? You too." I grab my suitcase and walk toward the ticket gate. I acknowledge the lightness in my chest. Past the ticket gate, I look back and wave many times to see my mother waving and still smiling. Finally, she is out of sight. I wait for the train on the platform, reflecting on how our parting went. The train arrives. On the train, I settle in my seat. Then, suddenly and unexpectedly, my eyes well up with tears. And I let the tears of sadness and gratitude stream down my face.
You have just heard a story from Akiko Hara. This is Terminal City Tales at Vancouver Co-op Radio 100.5 FM. Our next story is from Gunargie OSullivan.
Many of you know that I was adopted, and that's my excuse for everything, okay? I was adopted, but I also went to residential school. I'm an intergenerational survivor of residential schools, and my dad was Jerry O'Sullivan, who is Irish Canadian, and my mother was Kathleen O'Sullivan, and they both worked on the CPR ships way back in the day when the Princess Louise was still running, the Princess Vancouver, and then the Princess Patricia. And that ship traveled up and down, traveled up and down from Vancouver all the way to Alaska and back. And Kathy and Jerry both were reaching up there in age. They wanted to have children, couldn't for some reason. And they had expressed to the people in Alert Bay, the elders in the community, that they had wanted to adopt a child. And they were wanting to adopt a native child. And so when things arose for me, when I was little, my mom passed away. And I guess around that time, they decided to put me up for adoption. And they spoke with Kathy and Jerry, the elders in the community. And they said, "Listen, we have this child. She's only like 6 or something, and she needs a family because the residential schools are going to be shut down, and we don't want to lose her to the system," meaning the foster care system. "And so would you be interested in adopting her?" And so Kathy and Jerry thought about it very carefully. And Kathy was like, "I definitely," she was being impulsive. And apparently Jerry, my dad, was like, "I don't know, we're kind of up there in age, Kathleen." He was the sensible and the practical one. But they ended up meeting me in a big house in Alert Bay, which is our ceremonial house. And they were having these little common dances in an effort to revitalize language and culture. So I was told that I needed to go to the big house that day and meet some people. And I said, okay. So I went with the other children. And when Kathy and Jerry came into the big house, all of the kids went running, Kathy, Jerry, Kathy, Jerry, 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 Kathy, because they had candy, you see. So everybody was like racing towards them, and I kind of dawdled behind them and was really, really super shy at the time, very alone. And my dad looked at me and he said, well, Kathleen, if it was that one right there kicking up the sand, and if you wanted to adopt her, I would say yes. And it turned out it was me. And that's how it happened. So if you think about the significance of the place, it's our ceremonial house, right? And that this was the turning point in my life at 5 or 6 years old. And little did I know that that was going to define the rest of my life.
This was Gunargie OSullivan. Our next story is told by Cory Thibert.
All right, boy. I'm going to show you and everyone else here that Willie Loman did not die in vain. He had a good dream. And it's the only dream you can have. And that's when I notice it out of the corner of my eye. Somebody getting up in the audience, and I'm trying not to let it distract me, and I'm also trying to see if it's distracting my scene partner, and I'm looking in his eyes. And then the guy in the audience is walking across the front row, and I'm hoping that I'm being engaging enough that the whole audience is looking at me and not watching him, the distraction in the room, that they're watching me and not my dad as he walks out of the play 5 minutes before the end of this 3-hour drama, Death of a Salesman. And the thing is, I should be used to this by now. My dad's walked out of almost every single one of my plays at this point. And it's always in the front row, too, and within the final 5 minutes of a show. Front row because my parents, their visibility isn't good and their mobility isn't that good, so they can't do stairs. So I'm kind of used to it by now. And I have a theater company with my friend, and we do a lot of shows, and he knows it. And when we work with new people, I kind of give them a heads up. I was like, hey, my parents are coming today, so if somebody gets up near the end of the show and walks out, don't be offended, don't pay any attention to it, that's just my dad. But that's kind of a harder thing to explain to people, let's just say in a professional setting. Like my first professional acting gig was a night of monologues, and my parents came, and I did my monologue and went great. I went off stage, and then after a few minutes, another actor came off stage and was like, Jesus Christ, did you guys see that? I was doing my monologue, and this guy gets up in the middle of it, starts gathering his stuff, starts yelling at his wife to get her stuff, and then they just slowly walk across the front row as I'm doing my monologue. And I'm just like, yep, that was my dad. And the thing is, it's not that he doesn't like theater, it's not that he doesn't like my plays, or he has this high standard of me as an actor that I'm not living up to. It's not any of that. My dad walks out of my plays because he really doesn't want to miss his bus. And it's not just any bus. Both my parents have cerebral palsy, so they have to take paratranspo in Ottawa, which is the public transit for people with disabilities. And how it works is it's kind of like a taxi service. It's like a door-to-door service, but for the price of bus fare. So you call ahead a couple days, and then they pick you up, and they might pick up some other people on the way and drop them off before they drop you off, depending on the route. So it's a really tight schedule. And one time, the paratranspo was early to pick up my parents, and they weren't there on time, and it left without them, and both my parents were stranded for 2 hours. So now, my dad's always really worried, even in plays, that it's waiting outside, and it's going to leave them stranded again, and that's why he walks out of my plays. And I've tried to explain to him that it's really distracting to the actors on stage, and also really distracting to the audience, so please don't walk out. But he still walks out. I tried to tell him, why don't you book the paratranspo 30 minutes after my play is done? And my mom does it, but my dad still gets nervous and still walks out to check. I tried to tell him that I'll pay for a cab if they miss their bus, but he still walks out. And I even tried saying, Dad, please don't walk out of my show. And he still walks out. And the thing is, when he's listening to me when I'm telling him this, his every intention is to not walk out. It's just, in the moment, the anxiety takes over, and I could see it. He's in the front row, and his knee starts shaking, and he starts rubbing his hand through his hair, which is his nervous tick, and he's checking his watch and looking around, and then he just gets up and walks across the front row. And yeah, you just can't deal with the fact that him and my mom might be stranded again. So that's where we are right now. I'm on stage in the final scene of Death of a Salesman, which is Willie Loman's funeral. Sorry to ruin it. Any spoilers, but it's kind of in the title. I'm playing Happy Loman, which is his son, one of his sons. And everybody else there is kind of just saying Willie Loman's dream killed him, and they're all just like, yep, we kind of saw this coming. And Happy's the only one who's fighting for him. He's the only one who's defending his father and his father's dreams. But, you know, that doesn't matter, because my dad just walked out of the show, and he's out the door now, and he's missed the whole conclusion to the story, and he's missed the whole point, and he's missed all the meaning. But, you know, maybe the final moments aren't important. Maybe that's not what matters the most.
You've been listening to Terminal City Tales, and that was Cory Thibert. We have one more story for you, told by France Perras.
My father and I have a very interesting way of communicating. Most phone calls start like this. Yep. Boing, boing, yep. Obviously, we have trouble talking about emotions. And so, often our phone calls end with the I love you game. I love you, Dad. Uh-huh. I love you, Dad. Yep. Say it. Say it. Oh, come on, Dad, say the words. Words. I love you. Uh-huh. So, I answer the phone in my yip fashion, awaiting for the bring response. And there's silence on the line. Dad? I have a stage 3 sarcoma on the back of my tongue. Stage 3. That's pretty far along. Stage 3 sarcoma on the back of the tongue, most people don't talk. Most people don't eat again. If he already has a problem saying the words, now he may not be able to physically say the words, and so I try one last time. I love you, Dad! I hear the dial tone. My dad has cancer. I live 5,000 miles away. My dad has cancer. We start talking about what's going to happen when he dies. My dad has cancer. He starts talking about, well, you know, if things go really awry, I'm just going to take a shotgun out to the woods. And he's a farmer. 4 months of radiation. Chemo, c'est difficile, stomach pegs, nose tubes, you name it, he had it. Doctor's appointments. Hospitalization. Remission. And he's coming out to Vancouver because he's working out in Calgary, and he's like, how about a couple of days with you? We haven't spent time together in I don't know how long. My dad's gonna come visit me. I don't have roommates. I have my own little shoebox in the sky. My own little 400 square feet of gorgeousness. As I answer the phone, as he tells me with my yep, all I hear is sushi. Sushi! When in chemo and radiation, you can't have sushi, parasites. So my dad hasn't had fresh sushi in over 1.5 to 2 years. He arrives, I take them to our favorite little place. There's 4 tables in the restaurant. The owner serves us, put the menus away. He welcomes us with warm hugs, hot sake. The dishes start coming out. Tuna tataki with ponzu like you've never had. Big chunks of tuna sashimi. My dad is toasting me with every bite. He is leaning in and sharing his love of sushi. And I'm realizing that he's alive. And that I may never hear the words, and it's okay, because he's right here in front of me. We finish, we tumble out of the restaurant, we go and have one last beer in my little shoebox in the sky. It's a tiny place. I give my dad the bed. You have to understand, the bed is here, the couch is here. I'm sleeping on the couch, he's sleeping on the bed. Good night. 5 a.m. rolls around. I tiptoe to go to the bathroom to pee, and I hear, "It's cold in this bed." I tiptoe back. I crawl into bed with my dad, and he snuggles me for the first time since I've been 11. And then I hear those words. Je t'aime, je t'aime, je t'aime, je t'aime, je t'aime.
You've been listening to Terminal City Tales. That was France Perras with the final story for today. This is Vancouver Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. You can check out our website and listen to previous episodes at coopradio.org. And now for the events. It's the end of the month, and those of you planning to spend the weekend in Victoria will get a chance to enjoy the Victoria edition of the Story Live show. On April 1st, you'll be getting the city's best performers sharing some bizarre stories that sometimes seem too odd to be true. The catch is, one story is a lie. Once again, this event is in Victoria. The location is the Mint Victoria, 1414 Douglas Street. For more details, search for Story Live Victoria Edition on Facebook or contact the Mint Victoria people. Those of us staying in Vancouver will have to wait till next week, and then we're in for a treat. On Wednesday, April the 5th, The Flame hosts its monthly storytelling event at their regular location, the Cottage Bistro. You will hear some amazing true stories and enjoy some great live music as always. The admission is by donation. The place gets packed, so do arrive early. For details, consult the Flame Facebook page. We'd also like to mention our sister co-op radio program, The Storytelling Show. This show is about women's storytelling in all its variations. They are on every Sunday at 9 p.m. Details at facebook.com/storytellingshow.